Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back, and this is going to be about the Florida Desantis expected to sign school safety bill, and we'll see what it's all about. We'll probably go a little bit into the actual bill, a tiny bit, only just because we kind of want to see what it technically says. It gives us a brief introduction, but can't be too sure. So let's get started. Florida. Let me redo this. All right, we're good. Florida Governor DeSantis is expected to sign school safety bill to help prevent shootings. Though the timing coincides with a tragic shooting in Uvalde, the bill was actually written and passed by lawmakers earlier this year. They were sent to DeSantis' desk on Wednesday. The legislation, HB 1421, passed the House on February 24, 2022, and subsequently passed the Senate on March 3rd, 2022. If signed, the law will require district school boards and charter school governing boards to adopt a plan that guides family reunification when K-12 schools are closed or unexpectedly evacuated due to natural or man-made disasters. Additionally, the State Board of Education will have to adopt rules setting requirements for emergency drills, including timing, frequency, participation, training, notification, and accommodations, and improved training for sworn and non-sworn school officers. It will require crisis intervention training for school safety officers. De-escalation is incredibly important, and it's good for them to have the tools to be able to do that, said Bill co-sponsor, Democrat State Representative Christina Husky, according to a report from CBS as 47. The bill also extends the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Public Safety Commission until July 2026. The commission was created in 2018 in response to the deadly shooting at Parkland High School in Florida. 17 students and faculty members were killed in the shooting. Parents of Parkland victims have praised the legislation. This will be the part of the continuing legacy of those who were lost so that they didn't die in vain. Tony Montalto, who heads the advocacy group Stand With Parkland, told a local station WTV, they continue to help protect our students and teachers in Florida schools. If signed, most of the bill will take effect on July 1st. Local 10 reports that additional mental health of students bill, HB 899, was sent to the governor, would also require charter schools to comply with all involuntary examination data reporting requirements and allow the Department of Children and Families to use data. On Tuesday, DeSantis ordered flags to be lowered to half in honor of victims of old. Well, there you have it. So we have that there, and I don't know what's in the bill, which we'll probably most likely end up checking right now. But for the most part, it kind of depends on what's in this bill, right? And I can kind of understand what they're saying, and it's good. But again, they're not saying exactly why. They're saying accommodations, bills, and stuff like accommodations and training and participation and stuff like that. So I'm not quite sure what that could all entail. For all I know, training could be the use of actual firearms or weapons, which would probably be used. I know a lot of people are talking about teachers would, probably use it against kids, but I would like to say the majority of teachers or majority of people are not batshit insane, so I don't think we would have to worry too much about that. However, I do think I do think that maybe for everything as well that the mental health check would have to be required. I know there's also people on the other side that are saying, like, if you give teachers weapons, then that could also require other mass shootings and stuff like that to engage. And I can see that point of view as well. But I also have to point this out, is that majority of the time when I see this is that, yeah, we also have that possibility, but there's also a lot of risks. And we also have to see, like, the unimaginable risk and all the other things that are happening, and then see what happens. Now, again, this is like tests and stuff like that. Maybe we could do tests, so for instance, because it would be a test, because it would be something very new that happens, is that we put teachers with training with weapons or whatever, and those said teachers, if we really want to protect the kids for that matter, we do like maybe adults or like maybe high school or colleges first, if we really don't really want to care about the kids for that matter, and then put that type of thing in there and see what happens and see how many guns or how many shootings happen in at the school when we implement that type of thing in. Now, I'm going to some people will probably want to put for 2 years, maybe 3 years or whatever, and I would say I would have to give it at least like maybe 5 years. I would probably even say maybe even 8 years, because here's the thing: you need time to collect data, right? And again, the time span between all these big mass shootings or school shootings have you are so spaced apart between 3 years and 5 years, or 3 years to 5 years, some even being 10 years, and you don't really know, you can't really get enough data if nothing's happening between that time span. So the bill would necessarily have to be between, or rather the time span for the actual collect results is you would have to have at least at minimum 5 years, if not maybe I say 8 years, but I would even say go 10 years, because this gives enough time to see if there does a shooting occur, or we see or we get to see what prevents and what does not prevent and stuff like that. So there you go. I mean, even if one person dies during a school shooting, but the actual perpetrator, the person that's activating it or doing it, dies or stops, and that stops everybody from essentially dying, and only one person died as a result, I would say that's a very, very positive outcome. Even though tragic, only one person died defending the kids or whatever from the perpetrator that's there. So again, you also have to take things in a lot of in our prospect as well. Is where we have is that there are always probably negatives to a specific rule or a law or whatever, and we have to account for that, right? But if, like, say for instance, if one death or even 2 deaths are the cause of maybe a shooting, that's not considered. I wouldn't even consider that as a mass shooting compared to most school standards. Now, if you go over the years, a couple of decades or so, and then the common trend is 1 or 2 people are dying, then okay, then we can find ways to combat that by trying to prevent less people from dying than having more. But right now we don't know, so we would have to put that test into effect. But again, as I'm trying to say, a lot of the cases is that there's a lot of time frame between all these mass shootings and how this happens, so we have to get data to see on how it works. I'd say if you get more people trained up, or at least all the teachers having some type of weapon or whatever, and then what have you, I would say that would prevent a lot of the things that would be happening in the school specifically. I would even say have a teacher doing some type of like maybe military or at the lowest police officer training, to the point to where he knows what to do, etc., and that would provide safety and all that for the teachers. Even better if all the teachers do it, but I know that would be expensive, so that may not be a possibility, but it's there, right? So again, there's a lot of things we could take into prospect here. But let's go into the next article and kind of see what this has. It's it's quite a few pages by the looks of it. It's 12 pages. So let's try to see to get this banged out pretty quick. I mostly want to go through the main things, though. I don't want to go through like all this wish-wash stuff, because I don't really like it. But again, this will kind of give us an idea of what the bill what is in the bill, and what we kind of expect it to be. All right, let's get into it. In 2018, the legislature enacted. Okay, so we're not going to read this. All right. However, we are going to see addresses the student of mental health by requiring district school boards and charter school governing schools to adopt a plan that guides family reunification when K-12 public schools are closed or unexpectedly evacuated due to natural or man-made disasters. Okay, so that's one thing, right? So that's one thing that's saying. So, and then we have the requiring training, notification, accommodations, etc. So that's what we have. Now this is different, because now we're going into the other stuff that is going to be pertaining to this. requiring that law enforcement responsible for responding to schools in the event of an assailant emergency by physically present and participate in active assailant drills. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so yeah, that's great. I would 100% agree. The whole I already did a video about the whole police officer thing being completely egregious and how they should all be removed their badges. This is really good here. Let's go on. Requiring that school safety environmental incident reporting data be published annually in a uniform statewide format that is easy to read and understand. Okay, great. I think that's another good thing too. Requiring safe school officers that are sworn law enforcement officers to complete mental health crisis intervention training. Again, I really I like that. Requiring safe school officers that are not sworn law enforcement officers to receive training on incident response and de-escalation. Great. Requiring that school, district, and local mobile response teams use the same suicide screening tool approved by the Department of Education. Requiring that school districts annually certify beginning with July 1st, 2023, that at least 80% of school personnel receive the mandatory youth mental health training awareness training. Amazing. Requiring the Office of Safe Schools to provide school districts information on the proper use of the school safety awareness program, including the consequences of knowing submitting false information. Great. So far from what I'm seeing in this bill is that it's hitting all the really good important things that it's trying to counter all this stuff. Now, we obviously we can't predict everything, right? But this hits a lot of nail on the head. This gives you training for emergency drills and assailants, school safety reports, and all this. Also, this very incredible stuff that got really helped us. Because again, we all know that the shooters that do these school shootings or what have you have very bad mental problems. They're mentally unwell. So having this type of thing here will allow to see this happen and be able to try to stop it the best way possible. And hopefully we'll see this come into effect. I actually want to see on how this bill will actually prevent a lot of these things in the coming years, because I think this might actually prevent a lot of disasters from actually happening. The background, I don't think this matters a bit too much. We kind of get an idea of what's already going on here. Present situation. So not too much here. I will be putting this into the actual description, so don't worry. You guys will be able to read it yourselves. But I kind of wanted to see kind of like the gist of everything that's going on. Effect of the bill. Okay, that doesn't really matter because, again, they already said it'll be July 1st, 2020, July of this year. That's when we come into effect. Fair situations. So far, like, from what I'm seeing here, there's nothing really too crazy here. But here's what we would like to have, though, right here, is that additionally, school districts are required to provide timely notice to parents of the following unlawful acts, specifically emergency situations on school grounds, school transportation, or school-sponsored activities: weapons, possession, or use hostage in active assailant situations, murder, homicide, or manslaughter, sex offenses including rape, sexual assault, or sexual misconduct with a student by school personnel, aggravated assault or battery as defined in statute, natural emergencies including hurricanes, tornadoes, and severe weather, especially as a result of man-made emergency. Yeah, I can see why a lot of people, everybody would want to agree with this, because this is good. No, I like so far. At the very beginning, I liked immediately at the beginning of the bill. They establish on what they want in the bill, and they go into a bit more in-depth information what it all pertains. But again, I really like this bill. I think a lot of states should try to make a bill similar to this, because I think this bill is very good. And we'll just kind of see what the results are. Again, we'll see on how it goes, but so far I really like it. Good job, Ron Desantis. I like what you're doing here. I really like him to be president, because I would like to see what he would actually do to this country and see what he would fix. But guys, that's it for the video. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.